The war had ended, but the silence that followed was even louder. Human Commander Ethan Cross stood in the grand hall of the alien palace, a place made of silver walls and floating light crystals. The smell of metal and burnt ozone still hung in the air. Around him stood tall alien guards with blue glowing armor, their strange eyes filled with both respect and disgust. At the far end of the hall sat King Xylar, ruler of the Zerath Dominion, the alien empire that once tried to destroy Earth. His skin shimmered like dark glass, and his crown pulsed with energy. He smiled, but not kindly. "You fought well, human," the king said in a deep, echoing voice. "Few of your kind ever reach my throne alive." Ethan kept his face still. "I didn't come for praise, your majesty. I came for peace." King Xylar laughed, a sound that made the light crystals tremble. "Peace between our species? You destroyed half my fleet." "And you burned 2 of our colonies," Ethan replied quietly. "We both lost enough." For a moment, silence filled the hall again. Then the alien king rose from his seat. His movements were graceful but heavy with power. "Very well, human. If you truly wish peace, I will give you a gift." He clapped his hands. 2 guards entered, carrying a small floating capsule made of crystal and energy. Inside lay a fragile alien girl, her body pale, her breathing slow, her silver hair almost glowing in the dim light. "This," the king said, smiling mockingly, "is my daughter, Princess Lyra. She is broken. Her body cannot survive without constant energy support. Her heart is weak, her mind unstable. Even our best healers failed to save her." Ethan's eyes widened. "You're giving me your daughter?" King Xylar's grin widened. "Yes, you humans like fixing things, don't you? Fix her, if you can. Consider it a challenge. Or a joke, if you prefer. You saved your world. Now save something beyond your reach." The guards placed the capsule before Ethan and stepped back. Lyra's small hand twitched inside, her eyes half open, faintly glowing with sadness. Ethan looked at the king. "Why are you doing this?" "Because," said Xylar, "I want to see what kind of god your kind thinks you are." He turned away. "Take her and leave. If she dies, I will consider it proof that humans are just lucky animals. If she lives, and then maybe your kind truly deserves the stars." Outside the palace, the cold winds of the alien moon cut through Ethan's armor. The human transport ship waited on the landing pad. His team looked confused when they saw what he carried. "Sir, is that an alien child?" asked Sergeant Mina, his second-in-command. "She's the princess," Ethan replied. "The king gave her to us. As a test," Mina frowned. "A test? That sounds like a trap." "Maybe it is," Ethan said. He looked down at the capsule. Lyra's breathing was weak but steady. "But I won't let her die." Hours later, aboard the ship, Ethan watched as human medics examined Lyra. Their scanners beeped with strange readings. "Her lungs don't process oxygen the same way," one medic said. "Her body relies on pure energy plasma. Without it, she'll suffocate." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Can we replicate it?" "Not with our tech," another replied. "Her biology is beyond us." The crew looked worried, but Ethan's eyes burned with quiet determination. He had seen too much death, too many promises of peace broken by pride. Maybe saving this girl could prove something greater, not just to the aliens, but to both species. He stood near her bed, watching the flickering light from her life support field. Lyra's eyes opened slightly. "Why, help me," she whispered weakly, her voice musical but fragile. "Because," Ethan said softly, "no one deserves to be broken, not even the daughter of my enemy." A faint tear rolled down her glowing cheek. "You are strange, human," Ethan smiled sadly. "I get that a lot." As the ship left the alien planet, the energy capsule hummed weakly. Suddenly, alarms flashed. The plasma stabilizer was failing. Lyra's vitals began to drop. "Commander!" shouted Mina. "She's dying!" Ethan rushed to her side. Without thinking, he pulled off his energy core, the same device that powered his armor, and connected it to her support capsule. Sparks flew and the lights flickered, but her breathing steadied again. The crew stared in shock. "Sir, you can't keep that up. Your suit will shut down." "I don't care," Ethan said. "She's going to live." In that moment, far away in his palace, King Xylar watched the human ship's departure through a glowing sphere. His smirk slowly faded. "Interesting," he murmured. "The human gives his life for my daughter. Perhaps he is not as simple as I thought." He leaned back on his throne. Let's see how far his humanity can go. The hum of the ship echoed like a heartbeat. Commander Ethan Cross stood in the medical bay, staring at the pale alien girl lying inside the glass capsule. Her name was Lyra, the broken princess of the Zerath Dominion, the same empire that once tried to destroy Earth. Now, she was dying under his watch. The ship's medic, Dr. Hensley, wiped sweat from his forehead. Her plasma levels are dropping again, sir. The alien energy in her body is rejecting our human tech. Ethan looked at the readings, red lines, flashing warnings, numbers falling every second. We need a solution, not excuses, he said quietly, his voice cold but tired. Sir, Hensley sighed. We've tried everything. She doesn't breathe oxygen like us. Her lungs convert energy instead of air. If we can't stabilize her within 12 hours, she won't make it. Ethan stared at Lyra's fragile chest rising and falling slowly. Her silver hair floated slightly in the energy field like starlight caught in water. He whispered to himself, You said I couldn't fix her, King Xylar. Let's see about that. Hours passed. The crew slept, but Ethan didn't. He stood before the capsule, sketching designs on his datapad, rough plans of artificial lungs powered by both plasma and oxygen. A hybrid design, something neither human nor alien had ever built before. Sergeant Mina entered quietly, holding 2 cups of black coffee. You haven't slept in 30 hours, she said. Sleep doesn't save lives, Ethan muttered without looking up. Mina placed the cup near him. You're trying to fix something our scientists couldn't even understand. Ethan finally looked at her. You remember Luna Colony, when the reactor failed? Mina nodded. You built a replacement out of scrap metal and a coffee maker. He smiled faintly. Exactly. If it can breathe, it can live. And if it can live, I can fix it. He began working nonstop. The ship's lab filled with glowing parts, alien plasma cores, human oxygen filters, and circuits humming with life. Ethan worked with shaky hands, welding, adjusting, testing. Sparks lit up his face as if stars were being born in that small lab. Meanwhile, Lyra's condition worsened. Her breathing turned shallow, her glowing veins dimmed, and her pulse weakened. Dr. Hensley's voice cracked through the comm. Commander, she's slipping away. Ethan dropped his tools and ran. The readings screamed, heart rate critical, energy failing. He placed his hand against the glass. Stay with me, Lyra, don't give up now. Her eyelids fluttered. Her voice was barely a whisper. Why, are you doing this? Because someone has to, he said. Because I promised peace, not pity. Back in the lab, Ethan connected the final wire to his prototype, the human-alien bio-lung, a small transparent sphere pulsing with blue light. He lifted it carefully like holding a newborn star. This one will work, he told himself. It has to. He returned to the medical bay. Open the capsule, he ordered. Dr. Hensley hesitated. Sir, if this fails, it could kill her instantly. Ethan's eyes were steady. She's dying already. I won't watch her fade. The capsule hissed open. The air smelled sharp with plasma and ozone. Lyra gasped weakly, her chest struggling for breath. Ethan carefully placed the device on her chest, aligning it with her heart. Power it up, he said. The ship lights flickered as the device came alive. Blue energy flowed through Lyra's body like rivers of light. The readings jumped, her vitals stabilizing for the first time in hours. Her breathing smoothed, slow and calm. The heart monitor beeped steadily. Dr. Hensley's jaw dropped. It's working. She's stabilizing, Mina whispered. He actually did it. Ethan didn't smile. He just watched the girl breathe normally for the first time. No one's broken, he said softly. Not if we still fight for them. A few hours later, Lyra woke. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly as she looked at Ethan sitting nearby. Exhaustion written on his face. I feel different, she said, her voice stronger. You're alive, Ethan replied with a faint smile. Your lungs are human now. In a way. Lyra touched her chest, feeling the faint hum of the artificial core. You changed me. I helped you live, he said. The rest is up to you. She studied him, confused. Why risk your life for me? Your people hate mine. Ethan looked out the window where stars drifted in endless silence, because someone has to be the first to stop the hate. Maybe that's what strength really means. For a long moment, neither spoke. The soft hum of the ship filled the air. Then Lyra whispered, Father said humans only destroy. But you build. Ethan chuckled quietly. Your father doesn't know everything. Far away on the Zareth homeworld, King Xylar watched through his crystal orb again. When he saw his daughter breathing, alive, her energy stable, his jaw tightened. He crushed the edge of his throne with one claw. Impossible. He actually saved her. An advisor approached carefully. Should we retrieve the princess, my king? Xylar's eyes glowed red. No. Let the human think he has won. Let him believe he can change fate. Soon he will learn. Nothing born broken can remain whole. The orb dimmed, leaving only the reflection of a furious father and a rising storm. Back on the ship, Lyra slept peacefully for the first time. Ethan watched her through the glass, his armor lying in pieces beside him. Mina entered again, crossing her arms. You know this isn't over, right? The king won't forgive this. Ethan nodded slowly. I know, but now at least he'll have to face something he's never seen before. What's that? She asked. He looked at the sleeping girl. Hope. The ship drifted through the silent sea of stars. Inside, the air was calm and almost peaceful. Princess Lyra slept in her recovery chamber, her silver hair floating gently in the light of her new artificial lungs. Each breath was smooth, steady, and alive, a rhythm that reminded Ethan Cross of the heartbeats of home. But peace never lasted long for humans in alien space. Ethan stood on the bridge, watching the glowing data screen. The radar blinked red. Something was approaching fast. Unidentified ship detected, said Sergeant Mina. It's Xerath technology. Stealth class. Ethan's expression hardened. They found us. Moments later, a hologram flickered to life in front of him. The familiar sharp face of King Xylar appeared, cold eyes burning with fury. Human, the king said, his voice echoing through the ship's speakers. You went too far. Ethan kept his tone calm. Your daughter is alive. I thought that's what you wanted. Xylar's lips twisted into a cruel smile. Alive, you changed her. You filled her with human parts. You polluted royal blood with your primitive machines. Ethan stepped closer to the hologram. I saved her life, the king's voice thundered. You corrupted it. My daughter is no longer Zareth. She is something unnatural, something that should not exist. Mina whispered. Sir, this sounds bad. Ethan ignored her. You gave her to me, Xylar. Don't blame me for doing what you couldn't. Xylar's eyes glowed with rage. Then you will die with her. The hologram vanished, and a moment later the radar screamed. 3 enemy drones appeared from the dark, silver shapes moving fast like sharks in deep water. Shields up, Ethan ordered. The ship shook as plasma bolts slammed into the hull. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the crew rushed to their stations. In the medical bay, Lyra woke to the sound of explosions. She gasped, touching her chest, feeling the hum of her new lungs. What's happening? A young medic answered, enemy ships. Stay here, princess. But Lyra stood, her eyes glowing faintly blue. No, I can help. She moved to the control panel, pressing her hand against the interface. The human systems resisted at first, but then something strange happened. Her energy core connected with the ship's systems. The lights flickered, then stabilized. The medic's eyes widened. What did you just do? I don't know, Lyra said softly, but I feel connected. On the bridge, Ethan was losing control. Shields at 20%, Mina shouted. Then suddenly the systems glowed brighter. The energy grid surged. The ship's defenses strengthened like a pulse of new life. What the? Ethan muttered. Who rerouted power? It's coming from the medbay, Mina said. Ethan rushed down the corridor, smoke and sparks all around. When he entered the room, he froze. Lyra stood by the control unit, her hand pressed against the console, her eyes glowing brighter than before. The ship hummed around her like it was alive. Lyra! Stop, Ethan shouted. You'll overload the system. But she shook her head. I can feel them, Ethan, the Xerath drones. Their weapons, their paths. I can block them. Her body trembled as energy flowed through her. The artificial lungs pulsed rapidly, half human, half alien, creating a strange new power. Ethan hesitated. You'll burn yourself out. She smiled faintly. You said I wasn't broken. Let me prove it. Outside, the ship's cannons roared to life with renewed power. Blue light flared from the engines as Lyra's energy synced with the ship's systems. The drones tried to dodge, but one by one they exploded in bursts of light. On the bridge, Mina yelled, They're retreating. She did it. Ethan turned to Lyra, still glowing, her knees shaking. Enough, stop before it kills you. She pulled her hand back. The lights dimmed and she collapsed. Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. Her breathing was weak but steady. "Did we win?" she whispered. Ethan smiled softly. "Yeah, you did." She looked up at him, eyes soft. "Then maybe I'm not just his daughter anymore." "You never were," he said quietly. "You're your own person now." Later, as the crew repaired the ship, Ethan stood by the window staring at the stars. Mina joined him. "Sir, we can't go back to Earth. The Zareth will hunt us now." "I know," he said, "but we can't stay here either. So what's the plan?" He looked toward the med bay where Lyra rested peacefully. "We find a place where she's safe, where no king's pride can reach her." Mina smirked. "You're getting soft, Commander." Ethan chuckled. "Maybe, but maybe softness is what this galaxy needs." Far away, King Xyler sat alone in his throne room, his face dark with anger. His advisor entered cautiously. "My king, the attack failed. The human ship escaped. The princess, she fought back." Xylar turned sharply. "She what?" "She connected with their systems. She became something new." The king's claws dug into the metal throne. "No, that's impossible. She's stronger now, sire." "The human changed her, but not into something weaker." The king's eyes narrowed. "Then he must die before others learn what he has done. Prepare the hunters." He looked up at the stars beyond his crystal ceiling. "My daughter's weakness has become a weapon, and I will not let it spread." Back on the human ship, Ethan sat beside Lyra as she slept. He noticed faint circuits glowing beneath her skin, a sign that her body was evolving, changing again. He whispered, "You're not just surviving. You're becoming something new." Lyra stirred slightly. "Ethan," she murmured, "I dreamed of light, endless light." And a voice said, "You are the bridge." "What does that mean?" Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe it means you'll be the one to unite us." Outside the window, a faint flash appeared, something following them through the darkness. The hunt had begun. The stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's window, cold, silent witnesses to everything. Commander Ethan Cross stood in the dark control room watching the radar. A thin red line blinked behind them, following every move. "They're still out there," he said quietly. Sergeant Mina frowned, studying the screen. "Zarath hunter drones. They're faster, smarter, and armed with plasma nets. If they catch us, we won't have time to blink." Ethan nodded. "They're not here for us. They're here for her." His eyes shifted toward the med bay door, where Princess Lyra rested, the girl the alien king had called broken. But she was changing now, in ways no one fully understood. Lyra sat up slowly, touching her chest. The faint glow from her new lungs pulsed softly beneath her skin. Every time she breathed, she felt waves of energy flowing through her veins. Human technology fused with alien life. When she looked in the mirror, her reflection startled her. The blue glow in her eyes had deepened like two stars burning brighter. She whispered to herself, "What am I becoming?" She turned as Ethan entered the room. "You shouldn't be up," he said gently. "I feel fine," she replied. "Better than ever, actually." Ethan studied her carefully. "Your vitals say your energy levels are rising. But that's impossible. The lungs weren't meant to do that." "Maybe I'm adapting," Lyra said softly. "Maybe I'm finally alive." Before Ethan could answer, the ship's alarms screamed. "Incoming!" Mina's voice echoed through the speakers. 3 hunter ships closing fast." Ethan grabbed his weapon and turned to Lyra. "Stay here." But she shook her head. "No, if they want me, then I should face them." Ethan frowned. "You're not ready." She stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "I was never ready, Ethan, but I can't hide forever." The ship shook violently as plasma blasts hit the hull. Sparks showered from the ceiling. The lights flickered to red. "Shields at 40%, Mina shouted. "They're surrounding us." Ethan took control of the turret systems. "Let's give them something to remember." Outside, blue beams cut through the darkness, striking one hunter ship and sending it spiraling into a nearby asteroid. But 2 more remained, moving like predators in the dark. Suddenly, the comm crackled. A deep, distorted voice came through, cold and familiar. "Human," it said. "You have something that belongs to the king. Return the princess and we might let you live." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Tell your king he lost the right to her when he called her broken." A chilling laugh echoed. "Then you die with her." The hunters launched plasma nets, glowing webs of energy that wrapped around the ship, slowing it down. Systems flickered, power dropping. The engine screamed. "We're caught!" Mina yelled. "They're boarding!" Ethan grabbed his pulse rifle. "Mina, seal the lower decks. No one gets near the med bay." He sprinted down the corridor, the metal floor shaking beneath his boots. The sound of cutting lasers hissed through the air as alien soldiers began breaking through the hull. When the door exploded open, Ethan fired without hesitation. Blue plasma lit the corridor as he took down the first wave. But there were too many. Tall, armored Zareth warriors, their armor glowing with alien runes. "Hold the line," he shouted. But one of the soldiers broke through and charged toward the med bay. Ethan tried to stop him, but then a wave of blue light filled the corridor. The warrior froze mid-step, his armor cracking, his weapon shattering. Ethan turned and saw Lyra standing there, her hands glowing with intense light. Her voice was calm but strange, most deeper echoing. "Leave us alone." The remaining aliens screamed as their weapons shorted out. The energy around Lyra burst like a storm, sending them flying backward. When the light faded, silence filled the ship. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. "Lyra, what did you just do?" She looked at her hands, trembling. "I don't know. It just happened. I felt their energy, their anger, and then I pushed it away." Mina arrived, eyes wide. "Sir, all hunters are retreating." "They just vanished." Ethan turned back to Lyra. "You didn't just push them away. You scared them." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly again. "There's something inside me, Ethan. Something I can't control." Hours later, the ship floated quietly again. The crew worked in silence, patching the hull. Ethan sat across from Lyra in the observation room. Stars drifted outside, calm but endless. He spoke quietly. "Whatever that was, it saved us. But it also means the king will come harder next time." Lyra nodded, her gaze distant. "I saw something when it happened. A memory, but not mine. A laboratory. People in armor. My father shouting." Ethan leaned forward. "What did he say?" Her voice trembled. "He said activate the prototype, and then I saw my own face, but younger. There were other children too, like me." Ethan froze. "Other hybrids?" She nodded slowly. "He called us experiments." The realization hit Ethan like a blade. The king hadn't given her away out of mercy or pride. She was one of many creations. Failed ones. Broken tools made for something greater. "He used you," Ethan said quietly. "He made you to be a weapon." Lyra's eyes filled with tears, glowing faintly in the dark. "Then why did you save me?" Ethan's voice was steady. "Because you're not what he made. You're what you choose to be." For a long moment, they just sat there. A human soldier and an alien princess. Both scarred by their creators, both searching for something beyond survival. Far away, in the Zerath Palace, King Xylar stood before a sealed chamber. Inside, glass pods lined the walls, filled with sleeping figures that looked like his daughter. "Activate the next one," he ordered coldly. A scientist bowed. "As you command, my king. Prototype 9 will awaken within the hour." The king stared into the glowing glass. "Let the humans see what true power looks like. My daughter was the first bridge. The next will be the storm." The stars outside looked peaceful, but inside the ship there was only tension. Commander Ethan Cross hadn't slept in 2 days. He stood by the medbay window, watching Lyra sit quietly on the bed, her glowing eyes fixed on the darkness beyond. Ever since the fight with the Zerath hunters, she had been changing, stronger, faster, but also quieter. Sometimes she would stare into space as if hearing voices no one else could. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked softly. Lyra blinked, coming back from her thoughts. "I don't know," she whispered. "Every time I close my eyes, I see others' faces like mine, and I hear numbers, 1 through 9. Ethan's chest tightened. "9? "Yes," she said. "And I'm number 7. Before he could reply, Mina's voice cracked through the intercom. "Commander, you need to see this, now." In the control room, the main screen showed a transmission, an image so sharp it made Ethan's stomach turn. It was King Xylar, but this time he wasn't alone. Beside him stood another figure, taller than Lyra, armored in dark silver, eyes burning like blue fire. "This," the king announced proudly, "is Prototype 9, the perfect creation. Unlike my failed daughter, this one obeys." Prototype 9 stepped forward, her voice cold and empty. "Target confirmed, Human Commander Ethan Cross." Ethan felt a chill crawl up his spine. "He's sending her after us," the king smiled. You wanted peace, human? Then face my perfection. Let your fragile creation watch what real power looks like. The transmission ended, leaving only static and silence. Mina swallowed hard. Sir, if she's anything like Lyra, only stronger, then we're in serious trouble. Ethan nodded. We can't outrun her. We'll have to outthink her. Lyra entered quietly. Her expression was pale, but her eyes burned with determination. He awakened 9, she said. I can feel her. She's close. Can you sense where? Ethan asked. She placed her hand on the console. Her new lungs hummed softly, glowing through her chest. She's not far. Maybe a few light hours away. She's coming straight for us, Mina frowned. Then we need to move now. But Ethan shook his head. Running won't help. She'll track Lyra's energy signature. We need to hide it. He looked at the lab schematics. If I reroute the ship's reactor through her core, it might mask her signal temporarily. Mina's eyes widened. That's insane. One wrong calculation and the whole ship blows. Ethan smiled faintly. Insane is kind of my specialty. Hours passed as he worked. Sparks lit the room while he rewired the core system. Lyra watched silently, sensing the storm that was coming. When he finally finished, he said, All right. This should hide you, for a while. Lyra hesitated. Ethan, what if she's stronger than me? He looked at her. Then you'll be smarter, and that's what wins wars. She nodded slowly, her fingers tightening. I don't want to fight her. She's like me. Maybe she's still good inside. Ethan's voice softened. Maybe. But sometimes the hardest battle isn't against enemies, it's against what they turned us into. Suddenly the radar blared. Contact! She's here, Mina shouted. The ship trembled as a silver shadow appeared outside, a sleek vessel glowing with alien light. It wasn't large, but every movement felt alive, predatory. Then a voice filled the comm, smooth and emotionless. Lyra 7, the king commands your return. Lyra's eyes widened. 9, Ethan stepped forward. You'll have to go through me first. There was a pause, then cold laughter. Humans always think they matter. The enemy ship fired. A beam of pure energy sliced through the void, striking their shields. The entire ship jolted, alarm screaming. She's tearing through our defenses. Mina shouted. Ethan slammed his hand on the console. Divert power from weapons to the engine, full speed. But before they could move, the enemy ship blinked, literally vanished, and reappeared right beside them. She's teleporting, Mina yelled. Brace for impact. A metallic crash shook the corridor. The hull ripped open and a dark figure stepped through the smoke, Prototype 9 herself. Her armor shimmered with electric veins, her eyes cold and blue like frozen suns. Ethan aimed his rifle, firing bursts of plasma, but the bolts dissolved before touching her. She lifted one hand and the gun flew out of his grasp. Pathetic, she said. Lyra stepped out from behind him. Stop, 9 turned her head slowly. Sister. For a moment, silence hung between them. Two mirrors of the same creation, one born broken, one built perfect. You don't have to do this, Lyra pleaded. We don't have to be his weapons. 9's voice was hollow. We are not people. We are property. You forgot what you are. Lyra's eyes glowed. Then let me remind you what freedom feels like. She extended her hands. Light burst from her palms, colliding with 9's energy wave. The entire ship shook as blue and gold streams clashed in the air. Ethan and Mina were thrown back by the force. Sparks showered the room as panels exploded. Lyra screamed, pushing harder, her human lungs burning with energy. You're not my enemy, 9. The king is. 9's expression flickered just for a second. A spark of confusion passed through her emotionless eyes. But then the control chip on her neck glowed red. The king's voice echoed faintly through her, cold and cruel. Finish it. 9's energy flared violently. Lyra was thrown backward, crashing into the metal wall. She coughed, blue light flickering under her skin. Ethan rushed to her side. Lyra, stay with me. She looked up weakly. He's controlling her. Remotely, Ethan's jaw tightened. Then we break the control. He grabbed a plasma cutter, slicing through a live wire, sparks flying. Mina, distract her. Mina fired at 9, who turned her focus toward the noise. Ethan charged forward, leaping onto 9's back. With one precise strike, he drove the sparking wire into the chip on her neck. There was a blinding flash. 9 screamed, her body convulsing as the control unit melted. Then she fell to her knees, trembling. Lyra crawled closer, touching her hand. You're free now. 9's eyes dimmed, no longer cold. Free, she whispered. Remember? Then she collapsed, silent. Ethan stood, breathing heavily. We did it. Lyra looked down at Nine's still body. No, Ethan, this isn't over. My father won't stop. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll stop him first. Far away, King Xylar watched the feed of the failed mission. His face was unreadable. So the human frees even my perfect creation, he murmured. Very well. If my children stand with him, then I'll remind the galaxy who their true father is. He pressed his hand on the glowing throne. Awaken all the prototypes. Rows of cryo-chambers lit up one by one, each holding a figure with eyes that slowly began to open. Silence filled the ship after the battle, the kind of silence that felt heavier than any explosion. Commander Ethan Cross sat in the control room, his hands still shaking from what had happened. Beside him, Lyra stared at the body of Prototype 9, lying motionless on the floor. Her silver hair was burnt at the edges, her armor cracked, her blue eyes now dim. She didn't want to fight. Lyra said softly. He made her do it. Ethan sighed, rubbing his forehead. She was his weapon, not his daughter. Same as he tried to make you. Lyra looked down. Then what am I now? Ethan turned to her. You're proof he failed. Hours later, they buried Nine in silence. There was no soil in space, only stars. So Ethan released her body into the dark, wrapped in a metal casing. As the airlock opened, her form drifted out into the void, glowing faintly as the ship's lights faded behind her. She deserved better, Mina whispered. Lyra nodded. She'll have peace now. But as they watched the body disappear into the stars, something strange happened. The radar flared red again. Dozens of signals appeared all at once. Mina gasped.
Sir, incoming!
Not ships, life forms. Ethan leaned closer. The screen filled with blinking lights. Dozens, maybe hundreds, moving together in perfect formation. Lyra's heart pounded. He woke them up. Deep within the Zerath Palace, King Xylar stood before the awakening chambers. One by one, the glass pods opened, releasing streams of vapor. Each figure stepped out, some male, some female, all glowing with energy. The king raised his hand. My children, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. Your traitor sister has chosen the enemy. The human who defies me protects her. You will bring them back, both alive if possible, dead if necessary. The prototypes bowed as one. Their voices blended in eerie unison. Yes, father. The king's lips curled into a cruel smile. Go, my army. Show the galaxy that perfection answers only to me. Moments later, hundreds of ships burst from the palace hangar, streaking into the stars like silver arrows. On Ethan's ship, the alarms screamed. They're all heading this way. Mina shouted. We'll never outrun them. Ethan clenched his fists. Then we need a plan. He turned to Lyra. We can't fight that many, but maybe we can hide where their tech can't reach us. Lyra tilted her head. There is one place, she said slowly. My father always called it the Silent Belt, a nebula filled with magnetic storms. No scanners work inside. Mina looked uneasy. That place scrambles navigation too. We'll be blind. Ethan met her eyes. Better blind than dead. The engines roared to life and the ship darted into hyperspace. Stars stretched into lines and the light swallowed them. Lyra sat beside Ethan in the cockpit. Her hands trembled slightly as she watched the stars blur. They won't stop, Ethan. They'll chase us until one of us falls. Ethan's voice was calm. Then we don't run forever. We find a way to end this. For good. She looked at him, seeing the exhaustion in his face, the scars, the quiet determination. You could leave me. Save yourself. He smiled faintly. Not a chance. You're family now. The word hit her like a pulse of warmth, something she hadn't felt in years. Family. Not experiment. Not weapon. The ship dropped out of hyperspace inside the Silent Belt. The stars outside were hidden behind clouds of purple gas and glowing lightning storms. Strange magnetic waves shimmered through the void, painting the darkness with light. It's beautiful, Lyra whispered. Mina laughed nervously. Beautiful death trap, maybe. The sensors blinked and died. No signals, no radar, Mina said. We're flying blind, Ethan nodded. Good. That means they can't find us either. But he was wrong. Far away, a small tracking beacon pulsed faintly inside the engine core, unnoticed, buried in the systems. It glowed once, then sent out a silent signal. Hours passed. The crew tried to rest, but Lyra couldn't. She sat in the observation room staring into the glowing storm. Then she felt it, and a faint pull like someone calling her name from far away, Lyra. Her breath caught. The voice was soft, echoing in her mind. Lyra, it's me, she froze. 9? Yes, the voice whispered. I'm not gone. We're all connected, through him. Lyra's heart raced. What do you mean? You freed me, the voice said, weaker now. But the others, they're still chained. They can't see the truth. You must free them too. Tell me how. Lyra pleaded, but the voice faded, leaving only silence. Ethan entered quietly. You okay? She turned to him, her eyes wide. She spoke to me, 9, I heard her. She said the others are still under his control. Ethan frowned. You're saying they're linked somehow? Lyra nodded. Yes, through their cores. If I can reach their network, maybe I can break it. That sounds like suicide, Mina said from behind. If you connect to their system, the king will sense you instantly. I know, Lyra said softly. But if I don't, he'll destroy everything. Ethan stepped closer. You're not doing this alone. If there's a way, we'll find it together. Lyra smiled faintly. Together? That word feels right. Suddenly the ship trembled. Lightning flashed across the nebula, and the radar came alive again. Hundreds of red blips closing in fast. Mina's eyes widened. How did they find us? Ethan cursed. We've been tagged. They're here! The storm outside boiled with light as the first prototype ships broke through the clouds, glowing like ghosts. Lyra stood slowly, her eyes blazing brighter than ever. Then I'll end this now. Lyra, no? Ethan started, but she was already walking toward the reactor room, her silver hair glowing in the stormlight. In the engine chamber, she placed her hand on the reactor. Energy surged through her veins, linking her mind to the ship, and beyond it, to the network of prototypes spreading through space. Thousands of minds screamed in her head, voices of pain, rage, confusion. She cried out, "Stop!
Listen to me!
You're not his slaves, and you're alive!" For a second, one voice answered, then another, and then silence. Outside, several enemy ships froze mid-flight, their engines dimming. On the bridge, Mina gasped. They stopped. What's happening? Ethan whispered, She's reaching them. Back in the chamber, Lyra fell to her knees, shaking. Her lungs pulsed wildly as light burst from her chest. But among the voices another rose, dark, powerful, and full of fury. King Xylar. Foolish child, his voice thundered in her mind. You think you can defy me? I made you. You are nothing without me, Lyra screamed, her energy flaring. I am not your creation, I am my own. The reactor exploded with light, shaking the ship. Ethan ran toward the chamber. Lyra! Through the blinding glow, he saw her floating, eyes pure white, light pouring from her veins. And in that storm of power, she whispered, Tell them I'm coming, Father. The ship floated in the heart of the storm, surrounded by lightning that looked alive. Inside the reactor chamber, Lyra hung in midair, her body glowing brighter than any star. The ship shook with her power. Lights flickered, metal groaned, and the very air felt charged with something beyond human or alien. Lyra! Commander Ethan Cross shouted, fighting his way through the blinding glow. You have to stop. You'll burn yourself out. Her eyes opened, pure white yet full of pain. He's in my mind, Ethan. He's trying to take control again. Mina's voice came through the comm, panicked. Sir, energy levels are off the charts. If she keeps going, she'll blow the core. Ethan reached out, grabbing her hand. Listen to me, Lyra. You're stronger than him. You've already proved that. Her voice cracked. He's everywhere. Every prototype is linked to him through me. Then use that. Ethan said. Turn his own link against him. For a second she hesitated, then her glowing eyes met his. If I do that, I might not come back. Ethan's grip tightened. Then I'll bring you back myself. Thousands of light years away in the Zerath Palace, King Xylar stood before a massive crystal console. Around him hundreds of prototype minds screamed inside their connection field, their energy unstable. Stop resisting me, the king roared. You are my creations. You are perfection. But his console flickered. Through the static came a voice, his daughter's voice. Father. Xylar froze. How dare you invade my mind? Lyra's voice was calm, echoing like wind through glass. You gave me your blood, but the rest of me is mine. Without me, you would not exist, Xylar thundered. Then you should have taught me how to live, she replied. Back on the ship, Ethan and Mina struggled to keep the reactor from exploding. Sparks shot everywhere as the ship's systems overloaded. Sir, she's linking to the entire Zerath network, Mina shouted. Every prototype ship, every soldier, she's inside all of them. Ethan wiped the sweat from his face. Then she's giving them a choice. On the radar, hundreds of red dots here in the enemy ships began turning blue one by one. She's breaking their control, Mina gasped. Ethan whispered. She's freeing them. In the mental realm, a space made of pure energy, Lyra stood face to face with her father. Around them floated the glowing spirits of her siblings, the other prototypes. Some looked angry, others lost. Look at them, Xylar sneered. They are nothing without me. You are nothing without me. Lyra took a step forward, her glowing hair flowing like silver fire. No, father. They are everything you never understood, life that thinks, feels, chooses. She spread her arms and light poured from her chest. The fusion of human and alien energy. You called me broken, but my weakness became my strength. The ground cracked beneath them as his control network began to fall apart. Xylar screamed, You dare defy a king? Lyra's eyes glowed even brighter. No, father. I'm freeing your kingdom. With a final pulse, she released a wave of energy that tore through the psychic web, shattering every chain that bound the prototypes. In reality, across space, the army of ships suddenly stopped firing, their weapons powered down. Inside each vessel, alien pilots blinked, confused, free for the first time. Commander? Mina shouted. They've stopped. The whole fleet, Nate, they're not attacking anymore. Ethan stared at the screen, heart pounding. She did it. But the light in the reactor chamber was growing unstable. Ethan, Mina yelled. If we don't shut it down, it'll tear the ship apart. Ethan ran into the chamber, shielding his eyes. Lyra floated at the center, her energy fading fast. Lyra, you have to come back, he shouted. She smiled weakly. I can't. I have to hold the network open. Just a little longer. They're still waking up. Ethan grabbed her shoulders. We'll find another way. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. You already did. You showed me what it means to care, to choose, to be more than what we were made for. Don't you dare leave me, he said, his voice breaking. Lyra smiled faintly. I'm not leaving. I'm just becoming part of the light. Outside, the storm blazed brighter than ever. A massive wave of blue and gold light expanded from the ship, racing across the galaxy, touching every prototype, every world that had once been enslaved by Zerath control. In that moment, countless beings opened their eyes and free at last. Back in the palace, King Xylar screamed as the network shattered. His throne cracked beneath him. No, you can't. Then everything went dark. When the light finally faded, the silent belt was calm again. The storms vanished. The ship floated quietly among the stars. Mina slowly opened her eyes. We're alive. Ethan staggered into the chamber. The reactor was silent. No light, no sound, just stillness. Lyra, he called out. There was no answer. He looked around, heart pounding, then saw a faint shimmer on the floor. A small glowing sphere, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. He picked it up. Inside, faint energy swirled, blue and gold together. Mina walked up beside him. Is that her? Ethan nodded slowly. Yeah, it's her. He looked out the window where the stars seemed brighter than before. She's out there now, watching. Mina smiled sadly. The broken one who saved 2 worlds. Ethan nodded. No, the bridge who united them. He placed the glowing sphere into a small containment case and set it beside the ship's control panel. She wanted peace. Let's make sure she gets it. The ship turned slowly, heading toward the distant light of Earth, carrying the story of a human, an alien, and the bond that changed a galaxy, far away. In the ruins of the Zerath Palace, the shattered throne flickered with dying energy. Then, faintly, a voice echoed in the empty halls. Lyra's voice. Every empire built on fear will fall, but those built on hope will rise. And for the first time in centuries, the palace was silent.